Video we will be discussing about the types of research. In the previous class we have discussed about artifacts, and in today's lecture we will be talking about types of research. So broadly speaking, research can be divided into many types, and these particular notes is based on previous year questions and previous year topics. So the types of research, the types of research, as you can see, can be divided into 10 broad parts, 10 broad parts, which can be stated as: number 1, on the basis of objectives. On the basis of the objective of research, research can be divided into descriptive research, correlational research, exploratory research is also known as ex post facto research or historical research, and experimental research. So on the basis of objective, research can be divided into descriptive research, correlational research, exploratory research or ex post facto research, historical research, experimental research. Number of times data is collected in descriptive research, the number of times the data is collected in descriptive research can be divided into two parts: cross sectional, that means one time, but the sample is taken, the data is taken from varied different sections of samples. And a longitudinal studies, that means on number of times data is collected in descriptive research, number of times data is collected, there is two types. One is cross sectional, that means one time, and another thing goes like longitudinal, that means more than one time. Data is collected or a study is being conducted for a long time period, that is longitudinal study. Now longitudinal study can be divided into three parts, that means panel study, cohort study and retrospective study. This is very important from NTUGC NET and SET examination. Cross sectional, that means one time. Longitudinal, that means more than one time. Panel study, cohort study and retrospective study. Panel study means collecting data repeatedly from a set of people. Collecting panel, creating a panel for research in a long period of time. Longitudinal study, under longitudinal studies it is further divided into three parts: panel study, cohort study and retrospective study. Under panel study, data is collected repeatedly from a set of people. A group of people with a shared characteristics is known as cohort. And the third part of longitudinal study is retrospective study, that means a trend study. Already existing data is studied, that is retrospective. Retro means old, collecting old data and doing a longitudinal study. So number of times a data is collected can be divided into two types. One is cross sectional and another one is longitudinal. If data is collected for one time, it is known as cross sectional, and if data is collected for a multiple times, it is known as longitudinal studies. Now longitudinal study can be divided into three parts: panel study, cohort study and retrospective study. Panel study means collecting data from a particular set of public over a long period of time, that means taking the age group of 15 years in 2025, and my aim is to study for 5 years till 2030. The same sample will be studied. At that point of time, the age of the sample will be n plus 5, that means in 2025, if someone's age is 15 years, in 2030 that particular group of people's age will be 20 years. So this is panel study. I am creating a panel for my longitudinal study and I am taking the same sample repeatedly. Cohort means people with a shared characteristics, and retrospective means a trend, already existing data. Retro means old, the historical research part. Trend study, already existed data. I am studying with the existing data. Now types of descriptive research. Descriptive research can be divided into survey study, correlational studies, casual comparative study. Descriptive study can be divided into three parts: survey studies comes under descriptive study, correlation study comes under descriptive study, casual cooperative study comes under descriptive study. Retrospective or ex post facto and prospective study comes under casual studies. The fourth part is the descriptive study, is the other part of descriptive study. Fourth part deals with the other part of descriptive study, which states that ex post facto, historical, explanatory, same meaning. Ex post facto is equals to historical, is equals to explanatory. The three things are same, which comes under descriptive study. Under descriptive study, we also have analytical research, we have explanatory research. All this part, this is the introductory part of types of research. All this we will be discussing in details in the next class, but today from NET's perspective, from NTA UGC NET and SET's perspective, we can say that this type of research is very important. As we can see, this is being asked several times in the examination. Now, on the basis of outcome, we can divide research into fundamental or pure basic research, into applied research, and into action research. On the basis of outcome, on the basis of result, research can be divided into fundamental, pure or basic. Formulation of theory, how theory emerged, comes under fundamental research. It can be any theory, it can be any existing theory, as discussed in previous class, that while discussing about the paradigms of research, the positivist and the post-positivist, Karl Popper said that every theory is true until it is falsified. So these are the researches, research of the existing theories, research for the new theories. Everything must be studied. So on the basis of outcome, we can divide research into fundamental, pure or basic. That means the formulation of theory, how law of motion works. Applied research, on the basis of outcome, we also have applied research, that is aims to find social or political trend, often driven by current problems, using of existing knowledge. And we have action research. Okay, now we will be talking about on the basis of logic. On the basis of logic, research can be divided into deductive and inductive, and I have written DGP. That means deductive, general to particular. Inductive means particular to general. These are the keywords. These are the keywords. As I have said it several times before, this is just the revision class. This is not the detailed explanation class. It's a revision, revise with me series, where I am revising as well as I am sharing my revision experience with you all. So quickly, research, types of research on the basis of objectives, it can be divided into descriptive, correlational, exploratory is same as ex post facto, and historical research. Experimental research, number of times data collected, it can be divided into two part, cross sectional and longitudinal. Under longitudinal, we have panel study, cohort study, and retrospective study. Panel study states that collecting data repeatedly from a set of people. Cohort study says that a group of people with shared characteristics. And retrospective means, retro means old, the trend already existed. Descriptive study can be divided into three parts, that is survey study, correlational study, casual comparative study. Now casual comparative study can be divided into two parts. One is retrospective or ex post facto, and prospective. Retro means old, prospective means the prospect, the future. Now we are having as I have discussed the other parts of research, ex post facto or historical, explanatory research, analytical research, explanatory research. On the basis of outcome, we know fundamental research, that means the pure or the basic one, how formulation of theory occurs, how law of motion works. Applied means aims to find social or political trend, often driven by current problems used of existing knowledge. On the basis of logic, we have deductive, that is general to particular. We have inductive, that is particular to general. On the basis of process, we have quantitative and qualitative. Now this is very important, identifying quantitative and qualitative data. We have a cheat code, that means types of research. Direct questions comes from here. Suppose correlation research is of which type, so we can say it is a qualitative, because any CSIT, any CSEED is qualitative and other than CSEED is quantitative. Now what is CSEED? CSEED means correlational, surveyed, experimental, ex post facto, descriptive and ethnographic. CSEED is correlational, surveyed, experimental, ex post facto, descriptive and ethnographic. Okay, CSEED, types of research, qualitative and quantitative. All the qualitative is correlational, survey, experimental, ex post facto, descriptive and ethnographic, and other than CSEED everything is quantitative. Now on the basis of inquiry, research can be divided into structured and unstructured group. On the basis of idea or concept, research can be divided into conceptual or empirical. And final type of research is triangulation method. Triangulation, where we are using a mixed mode of conducting research. That means combination of qualitative and quantitative. So thank you for watching At Ease No Media, where we discuss media related topics at ease. So tomorrow we will meet again with further explanation of research. Thank you. Keep supporting.